Okay, so in video 6, we're going to flip your domain name. What I mean by that is we're going to increase the value of your domain name. Now, this takes a little more time, but it adds more value. So if you want to increase the value and increase the cost that you're going to sell, your domain name, then you might want to take a look at this video. It's not going to take a long time, I guarantee you. It's going to take several hours, maybe take half a day, but no more than that. So if it can increase the value of your domain name by several hundred to several thousand, I'm pretty sure this is worth it. Now, as you will watch this video, you will see how easy it is. All you have to do is get up a squeeze page, a web page, get some traffic to it, and that's all. You're not going overboard here. So with that said, let's go ahead and move in. The first thing you want to do is you want to add some sort of content. You want to add a web page, a squeeze page, maybe even at this time you can add an autoresponder and build your list out of this. So maybe you could have several different domain names that all are in a specific niche or sub-niche, and you're all building your list at the same time. So you could build your list, and then you can sell the domain name. So you've built a list of people, or you could even sell that list. You could sell the squeeze page. You could sell the web page that's on the domain name. So you could turn it into website flipping. But really, this is not really website flipping, just because we're just trying to do the least amount of work and just increase the value slightly, drive some traffic over, and then when you sell the domain name, you can say, hey, look, it's listed in Google. You got some traffic coming to it. We already know that people are indeed searching for keywords for that domain name keyword phrase. So to people, when they buy a domain name, if they buy a domain name and it's not just people are coming to it, they see people traffic coming to it, people coming to it, then they're probably going to pay more money because of that. And if you follow the system, then it's going to work in that way. So you can add a web page, add a squeeze page, or whatever. And I'm going to show you in just a minute how to do it. So what I'm going to talk about now is how to add content to your website. Now, just to recap, you need a domain name and you need web hosting. Of course, by now you probably have a domain name, but I just wanted to repeat that. If you have a domain name and you have hosting, then there is information that the host will provide you with to connect the two. Now, just to give you a general overview, to connect the two, generally HostGator, for example, if you go with HostGator, they will give you what they call a DNS. So you log into your account, Namecheap or GoDaddy or whatever. You log in, then you find the domain name that you want to point to that web host, okay? If this is confusing, then you can always go to the host and they'll usually tell you how to do it. But I just want to give you a quick overview on how to do it so that you can put all the pieces together. So once I log in, I'm going to choose a domain name. Let's say, for example, that I want to edit or turn freemarketingwebinar.info. Actually, on second thought, I'm going to change the domain name. But anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to modify the domain name. And then you need to click on domain name server setup. And then you're going to see there are DNS servers here. This is all going to make sense once you receive the DNS from the web hosting, wherever you're hosting it. They're going to basically give you these two things. And all you have to do is add them in here and then click on Save Changes. Once you do that, the domain name of the web hosting will be connected. And then you can, when you upload files to the web host, then you will be able to see it whenever somebody enters the domain name. Alright, so now that you have the basics, what you're going to need to have in addition to that are two more softwares. You're going to need to have some sort of tool that allows you to edit the web page, and I would recommend NVU. If you go to Google, type in NVU, you'll find net2.com/NVU. If you go to the site, you can go ahead and download, click download, and you want to download the Windows full installer if you're using Windows. If you're using Macintosh or Linux or anything else, you can download down here. But simply click that, install the software, and I'm going to use that in just a minute. So you want to have that installed once we begin to use it. So besides that, what else do you need? Okay, you need to have some sort of FTP program. FTP program basically allows you to upload files to your web host. All right, so if we had a diagram, okay, we'd have the domain name here, web hosting here on the left. They're connected. But in order for you, if you go to google.com, to see all these pages, you need to upload files to your web host. All right. To do that, you need a program. I would recommend a program called FileZilla. It's a free program, but it's very useful, and I've had a lot of great success with that. So go to FileZilla, click on download here, download the .exe file, install it, get it running, because I'm going to use that in just a minute. Alright, so I'm not going to use that right now, but I'm going to start using NVU in just a minute. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to create, let's say I want to create a new squeeze page in NVU. NVU is so easy to use. I mean, if you've used Microsoft Word, you should have no problem using this. So what I want to do is create an HTML page. So maybe I'll make a new folder called Test Pages. And go in that folder, right click, click on New, and create a text document. Basically, I'm going to highlight all of this, okay? Type in index.html. Just type in index.html, click enter, click yes. Then you want to open this file in NVU. The reason why I named it index.html is because when you upload that to your web host, then the browser will read that. You know, if you go to plasmatelevisions.com and you upload this in the root directory of plasmatelevisions.com, you're going to see this automatically because the browser reads the index.html file by default. So basically, I'm telling you this stuff, but if you're thinking, man, it doesn't make sense, just follow step by step what I'm doing. If you can do that, and most of you should be able to do that, then you should have no problems. Okay, so once you install NVU, you have to have NVU installed before you do this. Once you have NVU installed, right click on index.html, then open the file with NVU. So open with NVU. Some of you may not even see it on this list. If you don't see it on this list, you can click choose default program and then click this plus sign. Most likely NVU will be listed here. If you can't find it, you can click browse, and then go to your program files area, see program files, and look for NVU. So click that purple thing here and click open. But since I already have it, I'm just going to click right click, open with NVU. All right. And the reason why I'm going so much into detail is because I want to make sure that if you don't know about a certain area, then I cover that area so that I leave no man in the dark. All right, so this is NVU, and this is pretty much a web page. And keep in mind that when you create a web page or a squeeze page or article content, you want to make it look clean. Cleaner the better. You don't want to make it all fancy. I know you might be tempted to put a lot of images and things like that just because it looks pretty, but I would not recommend that. Just keep it clean, keep it looking nice, and you'll be good to go. So it really depends on what you want to do. Do you want to have article content? Do you want to have a squeeze page or whatever? For me, I would probably go with a squeeze page, because a squeeze page, if I'm using article marketing and things down the road, and when people get to your site, they're already interested in that specific keyword phrase, plasma televisions. Okay, so I probably wouldn't want to create a squeeze page so that they can sign up onto my list, or they get some sort of free content from me. Now, to create a squeeze page is very, very easy. It consists of this. You got a headline at the top. Sometimes they have subheadlines. Subheadlines basically support the headline. And then you have introduction, basically introducing perhaps what you're providing. List at least 3 problems people face with plasma televisions. Maybe you can make a squeeze page. Think about it. Maybe you can make a squeeze page about how to buy the best plasma television, or how to know how to get the cheapest plasma television. You know, stuff like that. And you can really find this stuff if you go to Ezine Articles, okay? If you go to ezinearticles.com. I'm not saying copy, I'm saying get an idea. And you can even type that, like how to get cheap plasma televisions. I could say plasma television, cheap plasma televisions. And just look through it and just get an idea of what you can do as well. So list 3 problems that people face, and then introduce perhaps your report. So you could have something like a 5 to 10 page report on how to get the best plasma television. And then you can list 3 benefits. People buy into benefits more than they buy into features, because the benefit answers their question as to what's in it for me. And then you list 3 benefits, and then you have a call to action. So you say grab this free 5-page report on how to get best cheapest plasma televisions. So you can see where I'm going with this, right? So what I'm doing is I'm adding value, and later down the road when there's traffic coming to the page, I can go to plasma television companies and say, hey, check this out. I've got this domain right now with traffic coming to it, and plasma television 46-inch. And on this web page, or on this domain name, I have listed a squeeze page where people can get reports on how to get cheap and the best plasma televisions. So I've done a lot of the groundwork. You're listed in Google. I mean, the domain's listed in Google. It's got traffic going to it. What better way than this? But to grab this domain name along with maybe the squeeze page to generate traffic for this plasma television, retailer. So you can now see the power of just doing this basics thing. Add a headline, say something like, you get a free report on how to get better plasma televisions in just 3 days or something. And the subheadline can be like, this is a 5-page report, or this is a 5-minute video, step-by-step video that shows you exactly how to do it. In the introduction, you could say something like, hi, welcome to this blah blah. Or you don't have to say it. You could list a fact. This is the fact about plasma televisions. Or here's a problem that people face with plasma televisions. They invest too much money, or they invest into something that breaks, things like that. Then introduce your report. Say, hey, but I've got this lovely report for you that will fix these problems, and you list the benefits. This 5-page report will save you time and save you money. And then call to action. So grab this free report today on blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And then you have to have, like, maybe if it's a squeeze page and you're getting people to sign up, then you might want to have an autoresponder. To get the code for the autoresponder, I would recommend you get aweber.com if you don't have it already. So it's aweber.com. aweber.com provides you with a lot of information, a lot of material, and a lot of video walkthroughs, as you can see here, on how to get started and how to add that code to your squeeze page. So when you add the code to your squeeze page, what you're going to see is the ability to make a squeeze page and the ability to get people to sign up, to give you your email address and their name, and your autoresponder is going to automatically send them the free 5 to 10 page report. So what you're doing here is you're automating the whole system so that you save time, you save money in the long run, and all you have to do is repeat the cycle over and over again. You do it again, you find another plasma television domain name, you do the same thing because you've set up the same system. So whether it's 50-inch, 46-inch, or even other stuff about plasma televisions. So you can see where I'm going with this. If you stick with a niche that you have found that to be profitable, you can repeat the cycle over and over again and profit from it and produce and increase your business. Okay, so by now you're wondering, okay, what do I do now? How do I upload this through FTP? Well, remember I said you're going to need FileZilla later? We're going to use that right now. You want to make sure you save the index.html file. Click save, you're done. Then the next thing you want to do is locate the file. Okay, this is the file here. Then you want to go to FileZilla. So go ahead and open FileZilla, which is an FTP program, as you can see here. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and connect to one of my domain names. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I guess I'll add it to, just for test purposes, I'll add it to this page. So basically when you're inside, what you want to do is go to the public_HTML. Some of you might have a different thing like HTTP docs or whatever, but you just need to go to the folder where you can upload files and see it on your site. So I'm going to go there. And what I did was I basically created a folder called domain test. So as you can see, it's not like a full squeeze page, but I pretty much went through it so you could understand it. So I'm going to close this out and I'm going to go to the folder that contains that file. Because I named it as index.html, all I have to do is drag and drop it into that folder. Okay. Once I do that, I can check it by going to my site, domain test. So you can see that you see exactly what we saw with NVU. You can add images, you can add tables and things like that. But what I said, and what I want to make a point of is that keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it simple. Add value, but keep it simple because you don't want to spend too much time on this. You don't need to spend too much time on this. But as you can see, very, very easy to do. You just need a domain name, you need web hosting, connect the two, then download NVU and FileZilla, install both softwares, use NVU to create the squeeze page. Then use FileZilla to basically upload to that squeeze page. Now, if you want to know how to use FileZilla, basically it says host Your host is ftp.yourdomain.com. Then your username and password is whatever the host gives you. And then you can quickly connect, and that's it. Once you've added your content, whether it's a squeeze page, a web page, or landing page, whatever, just make it simple. Once you have done that, then you can promote your site. What I would recommend that you do first is to add it to a social bookmarking site. If that domain name is not in Google yet, it's not indexed in Google, I recommend you do this step because you can get indexed within 24 hours or less, or 48 hours or less. If you do that and you get indexed into Google, when you sell the domain name, you can say, hey, look, it's in Google already, so I've already done the groundwork. Then you can do article marketing. You add content to article sites. Write a bunch of articles that surround your domain name, or you can write one or two. You can get some traffic that way too. Then you can build backlinks. Backlinks are another thing that people look at whenever they buy a website in general. So you can kind of use some things from website flipping into domain flipping. They overlap a little bit, but it's not as much work. So you could do blog commenting. If you don't know what that is, I'll show you that in just a minute. Believe it or not, this step right here is very, very simple to do. Before you do this, you need to have your content set up, your web page, your squeeze page, or article content, or whatever you have up on your page. Recommended that you only have a single page on your site, just to keep it simple. Once you've done that, then you can submit it to social bookmarking sites. Two that I would recommend is dig.com and delicious.com. So what you would do is, in case, like, for example, my thing is about plasma televisions. So I would want to find a category that relates to plasma televisions. I go on dig.com and just submit my site as a social bookmark. The content's good, then you can get more digs, and as you can see, the higher you get on the page. But the whole purpose of that is just to get indexed. Then you can go to delicious.com and also bookmark your site there as well, just to get indexed in both these sites. Once you get indexed in both these sites, a lot of times you can get indexed into Google within 12, 48 to 72 hours. Once you get indexed, then you have your domain name indexed. You want to start ranking it up. You start ranking that up, and you can start driving some traffic to it. You basically can take the same article content, or the content that's on your squeeze page, rewrite it a bit into an article, and it could take you anywhere from less than 10 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes to write an article. You can go to easyarticles.com, which is one of the top article directory sites out there. And because you get to submit your article here, if it's quality content and it gets accepted, then your Google ranking is going to be a lot better, because you're going to get a one-way backlink from a high authority site. And Google views all these three sites as high authority. Once you do that, you can take a few hours and do some blog commenting. If you don't know what that is, basically you're going to go to blogs that relate to your domain name. So plasma televisions. What I would do is, in quotes, I would put the keyword plasma televisions, and then I would put plus WordPress. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking for blogs. Blogs tend to get a lot of traffic, and they tend to get higher rankings in Google and in search engines in general. And because of that, you can go to these blogs and you can comment on these blogs. But here's the thing. If you, for example, let's go open these sites here, and I'll show you in just a minute what I'm referring to if you don't know what I'm referring to just yet. Okay, so this site right here talks about how to buy a plasma TV. If your web page talks about plasma TVs, and as we can see, it does talk about 42 to 46 inches in size, blah blah blah. So that's good. That's the type of traffic you want. And most likely, if somebody reads this article, they're going to look at the comments below. They look at the comments below, and they see that you commented on this specific blog and you are related to plasma TVs. Your website or domain name or squeeze page is related to plasma televisions, right? So you get a lot of targeted traffic. But not only that, Google comes and views this article. They look in the comments sometimes and they say, oh, hey, look, there's a link going out to this other page about plasma televisions. So when you leave a comment, you're basically getting one-way backlinks to your website. So you want to leave your name, your email, and your website in your post. So your website is going to link back to your actual domain. Now here's the thing I want you to keep in mind though. When you read an article and you comment it, don't just say great article and that's it. Try to read the article. I mean, if you look at how to buy a plasma TV, most likely it's going to tell you the strengths and weaknesses and things like that. You can skim the article, but make sure you pick a piece out of the article and say, hey, I really liked how you said, blah, blah, blah about this specific area. That way, the author knows that you're replying and you're adding quality to your comment. You're not just getting one-way backlinks to your site. And bloggers know that. They know that people can get one-way backlinks just by commenting on their own blog. But here's the thing, authors can also delete your comment if your comment is just spam. So you want to add value. If you can add value to this blog by commenting on the blog and leaving a good comment that shows people maybe more about plasma televisions, then most likely the author is going to keep your comment on the blog. People are going to see your comment, come to your blog, and you're going to get better rankings because of that. And it's really not that hard. Just use the same method I showed you. Put the keyword in quotations and then plus WordPress. Do that, you find WordPress blogs, you find 5 to 10, or you could even outsource this type of stuff, which I even do. If you outsource this type of stuff, you can get somebody to post, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 comments a day. A day, and you can keep doing this to all these different domain names and get the necessary traffic. Then you want to use something like Google Analytics to make sure that you keep track of the traffic so that when it comes time to selling the domain name or putting an ad on the domain name, you have proof that there's traffic that is coming to that domain name. So it increases the value of your domain name so you can sell it for more. And of course, keep in mind that you can outsource these things. You can use sites like rentacoder.com, odesk.com, guru.com, and scriptlance.com. I might give you some pointers in just a minute and specifics to these sites. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick what it looks like. Rentacoder.com, if you go to the site, it looks like this. Now, you might think, oh, it's all about software. Really, it's not just about software. You can hire people on a one-time basis if you like, and it's actually quite convenient. Now, if you're thinking, well, I want to hire somebody on a consistent basis, because if I'm a domainer, a person that's buying and selling domains, and I'm setting up these squeeze pages, I want somebody who will be there consistently, like a virtual assistant. If that's the case, then I would recommend odesk.com. As you can see here, you can find people that are willing to work for you on an hourly basis, anywhere from $2, $3, $4 up to $7 or $20. So you can search people, do some initial transactions. If you like the person, you can move on. Guru.com is another good one. It's sort of like rentacoder.com, but I found Guru.com has a lot more professional people well, people that it does charge a little more money. Um, but Guru.com, you have, I'd say, a lot more quality than Rent-A-Coder. So I would probably recommend Odesk and Guru.com. But I wanted to give you an option of looking at Rent-A-Coder.com as well as Scriptlance.com. Scriptlance.com focuses a lot more on the software end, but you do find a lot of people there who are willing to set up squeeze pages and things like that. And the reason why I mentioned these two is because these are more technical based. Scriptlance, I'd say, is a software freelance site. And because that's the case, you find people that know what they're doing when it comes to setting up web pages, designing or even setting up squeeze pages. So you drive your costs a lot lower because you're dealing with people that already know what they're doing.